Good morning and welcome to the last day of ISTE 2017. We're going to talk today about authentic user feedback and how that feedback gets into the game. My name is Matt Wolf. People call me Wolf. You can find me on Twitter at @PaintedWolf. And today I have my friend and colleague.
I'm Melissa Boone. I'm a user researcher at Xbox Research. You can find me on Twitter at @TheRubyValkyrie.
Great. And if you have any comments for us or feedback, at PlayCraftLearn on Twitter as well. So Melissa, what do you do at Microsoft?
So like I said, I'm a user researcher at Microsoft. I work for Xbox Research. And what that means is it's exactly what it sounds like. I do research for the users or the players of our games and franchises. And one of those that I do research with is Minecraft Education Edition. So I help make sure that the feedback from our users, our players, which includes teachers and students, goes into the game.
Great. And as a producer for Minecraft Education, my job is to take the feedback you get and make sure it gets into the features. So can you talk a little bit about some of the user research you've done here at ISTE and maybe some outside of ISTE?
Yeah, awesome. So ISTE has been so much fun. I've had so much fun talking to so many teachers. And that's been primarily what I've been doing, is just gathering feedback from teachers. I've been doing some mini interviews with teachers where I ask them about what kinds of ways that they plan on using Minecraft in the classroom and thinking about what kind of features and support they would like to get. I've been talking to a lot of our Minecraft mentors about their experience. They've got many years of experience using Minecraft in the classroom, so it's a really rich repository of information to get from them. And I've also been going through some of our features with people, like our tutorials, our code builder, just watching people play and actually having them think aloud for me. And that helps me understand what kind of problems are they having with the features, any issues, what kinds of things can we add or fix to support them.
Great. And Monday, you and I sat down with 4 or 5 mentors from around the world, and we got some feedback. Can you talk a little bit about some of the specific feedback you got?
Yeah, that was awesome. So we sat down with some mentors, and they talked a little bit about being in the mentor program, how much they loved participating in the program, and they really just loved being able to talk to other teachers and participate in that. And they also asked a lot about some future support that they could have in the game itself. They love being able to have control over the world, and that's really what they like to do as teachers, is being able to build. Having Minecraft with that canvas that they can do anything with. Yeah. And really, they were just asking for more tools to do that. They really just want to build and build.
More control, right?
More control, exactly. And that's what teachers love to do, right? They like to be able to have that creative aspect in the classroom. So we want to do stuff to support them and be able to do that stuff.
Great. And then previously, before ISTE, earlier this year, you and I met with, I don't know, a dozen students. What kind of feedback did they give you from their perspective?
So the students, they give so many different kinds of feedback. It's awesome. So if you're talking about the code builder workshop that we did with them, a lot of the students went through the code builder aspect. They actually went through our agent trials, which we're going to show a little bit later. And we found that they used code builder in so many different ways. It's pretty interesting. Some kids would create long lines of code and actually just execute that, and they wanted to go back and fix it. Some kids actually built controllers basically on the side where they could hit different buttons and use it to control the agent in different ways. So trying to figure out all the different ways that students were using it in the classroom was really helpful for us, and understanding like how should we build it to actually support how they're going to use it.
Yeah, that's great. So post ISTE, what sort of research should we be looking forward to?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're really interested in is looking at the longitudinal experience of Minecraft.
What does longitudinal mean? I don't know what that word is.
Awesome. So basically it means long term.
Okay.
So looking at it over the course of the semester or even a whole year to see how teachers are going to use it and how it unfolds in their classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd like to see what are student outcomes like after a couple of months or a whole semester. What kind of issues do teachers have as they're trying to use it long term? What kind of support can we build in throughout the curriculum for that? So that's one of the things that we really like to look at with teachers.
I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah, sweet.
So usually when you get feedback, you come talk to me and our designers and our devs and our testers, and we sit down and we create the story about what these features look like. Then when I get back to the office, and you and I get back to the office, and we sit down and talk about these things, is there any feature requests or feedback you've gotten that you're most excited about seeing later on?
That's a good question. I think it's really just about the teacher controls, honestly, because the stories that the teachers tell me about what they do in the classroom is so interesting. They do so much cool stuff. Right.
Every school is like their own, even teachers, right? Schools are their own special snowflakes, and then teachers have their own way to run their classrooms. Yeah. So being able to see teachers really take control of that and build whatever they want in the world, I'm super excited with that because then I can hear multiple stories. That's awesome. Yeah, speaking of teachers building their own worlds, online we have, 100 and plus lesson plans that I've seen. And looking at the controls they've used to create those worlds, it's been amazing. Whether it's Redstone or the newly introduced command blocks, those are all coming through feedback. And some examples I want to talk to you a little bit about on how and where we've used feedback in the game is classroom mode. So when we first introduced classroom mode in early access last June around ISTE, we've changed it a little bit since then. And I've taken your feedback and teachers' feedback and students' feedback on what that changes should be.
Sure.
So originally, when we created Education Edition, teachers said, I want to have that control. I don't quite know how to use Minecraft. So how can I administer my classroom's experience but not be in the game?
Right.
And we made classroom mode. And classroom mode is a way for teachers to watch what the students are doing without actually being in the game. And it gives a bird's eye view of the game, what all the students are doing. It gives them some controls on how to change the game rules or from creative to survival. It now allows them to turn on and off chat or pause the game, which we added this year based on teacher feedback. So I appreciate you gathering that feedback for us.
Awesome.
And watching students go through the lesson plan from that bird's eye view, I think is really beneficial. And teachers are like, we need that, we want that. And hearing about how they use that in the classroom is interesting. Have you heard anything about how they use classroom mode?
Yeah, so a lot of the teachers talked about liking to see the top-down view of that map. That's really one of the most important features. They like being able to help out students. So, for example, if a student wanders off somewhere and they can't find their way back to the actual project or their group, the teacher can actually teleport them back to their student's location. They find that to be really helpful for finding students. They can also chat to students either individually or as a group. And that helps if they can't speak over what's going on in the classroom. They can actually reach kids right through the world where they're already paying attention.
Yeah, and the teachers actually see the whispers from student to student. So when you have two students that are whispering each other, getting a little off task, the teacher can see that in classroom, which I think is really neat. Again, based on feedback we got. Because teachers said, like, I want to be able to hear all the conversation, not just what they're saying out loud. So that was good feedback we got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we newly introduced Code Builder experience. We announced it on May 2nd at the New York event, and we launched it May 22nd. We've been talking to a few teachers about how they're using Code Builder in the classroom just in the last few weeks. How's that user research gone?
Oh, that one's really awesome. They do so many cool things. Coding is kind of new in classrooms, but it's exploding. And so watching teachers encourage their students to like either use it as a side thing to build things that might be a little bit repetitive in the game or take a really long time, but they can actually use their agent to do most of that repetitive work for them, or actually teaching kids how code goes together. What do those coding principles look like?
Logical what are path of thinking, right?
Exactly. It's all logical thinking. So that's the great part about it, too, is that it's not just about learning the code itself, but kids learn to think logically, and that helps them in a bunch of other areas as well.
And just like classroom mode, Code Builder was based on feedback from users, right?
Absolutely.
Now we've done two years of Hour of Code with code.org, and every time we hear teachers say, I want more. I want to be able to expand on this. I want to be able to go further with my students. So we said, okay, let's take that feedback and build something off of it. So Code Builder was born, and now they can take that experience they get from Hour of Code farther in Minecraft. And can you explain a little bit about what's going on with Code Builder and how teachers use it and the different development environments, the feedback you've gotten from that?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of the work that we've done is with Scratch, and you can use Scratch as a developer environment as well with Code Builder. Watch a lot of kids use that, and they've had experience. One of the cool things about Scratch is that all the Minecraft blocks are sort of in their own location, so the kids know exactly where to look to add Minecraft blocks in with the regular coding commands such as loops and repeats, that kind of thing. So they know exactly where to look for that. One of the awesome things about MakeCode, which is a new code environment from Microsoft, is that you can actually look at the JavaScript in the environment. And that's great for slightly older kids who are starting to move out of the block-based learning and want to learn the code script. They can actually see the JavaScript with a click of the button. And that helps them connect the block-based stuff that they're doing to the code that they're writing. So it's pretty cool to see that.
And I really enjoyed Tinker. That's not necessarily my favorite, but I probably find myself using it the most often because they have really good tutorials. And we're going to cover agent trials a little bit later.
Sweet.
We're going to use Scratch, but Tinker has some really good tutorials on how to do the agent trials. And then later this year, we're going to launch with code.org. Again, based on feedback from our community. So I'm really excited to see how that happens.
That'd be great.
Going back to classroom mode, though, I want to talk about the toggles on classroom mode. So in the classroom mode, when you open it up, on the left-hand side, there's a little what we call a hamburger menu. It's got three little buttons, like a bun,
like
a hamburger, and a bun. You open that up. And do you have any feedback you'd like to share about how those toggles have changed or what toggles are in there that we kind of discussed?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that came out of doing some work with teachers. We brought them in and we actually simulated a classroom. So at Xbox Research, we have these labs that we bring people into. So then when I say bring them in, that's what I mean. We actually sit them down in front of the computer, let them go through it. I can talk to them through a one-way mirror, so they kind of are in there themselves and they can get immersed in the environment. I also used a bunch of our lab assistants to act as classroom students. They were awesome. All the teachers said they were just like regular middle school students. They were blowing things up.
Who doesn't want to react there in middle school age, right?
Right, exactly. So that was one of the things that we actually got a lot of feedback from teachers about is the original controls that were in there is you could turn off PvP, which is player versus player, which means that students can't hit each other in gameplay or hurt each other. That's important. But one of the things that was happening a lot is the students were blowing things up.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's what middle schoolers want to do, right? They want to blow things up. There's lots of blocks in the game that allow you to do that. And so one of the controls that we were able to add based on that is actually turning off TNT damage or explosion damage, basically. And a lot of other things that came out of that, like turning off weather. We're being able to, like I said, PvP damage, all these different toggles. I think there are about 8 in the game.
Yeah, right on. There's like fall damage, you can turn off mobs. I know when Minu and I travel to schools, the first request we get is, I want more bad guys, I want more weapons, and I want better combat. And Minu and I are like, well, what do you want to do with that, right? And so students are asking for more. Teachers are asking for a little bit more control. I think in Classroom, we found that happy medium to be able to adjust different game rules, different settings in Classroom mode. So the students are still having their authentic Minecraft experience, but teachers can still adjust based on their special Snowflake school or their certain environment, age group, lesson plan, and what they want to do with it. And I think that's really great.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about it is that we talk a lot about like chocolate covered broccoli, so we try not to.
Wait, do you say chocolate covered broccoli?
Chocolate covered broccoli.
What is that?
Yeah, so it's the idea that instead of, if you take a game that kids really like, like Minecraft, but you strip out all of the cool stuff out of it, the kids won't like it as much, right? It's like chocolate covered broccoli. It looks like Minecraft, but really all the cool stuff is kind of out of it. So one of the things I like about that is that we try to avoid doing that as much as possible with the game.
Just chocolate covered chocolate.
Right. Just pure chocolate, which is great for the kids.
Maybe caramel in the middle.
So they get to run around and play the Minecraft that they know and love, but the teachers also get to have the tools that they need to make it an educational experience in addition to being a fun experience. So it's fun and it's educational.
Yeah, and that's great, because if we talk to students and we get that feedback, what they really want is the true, authentic Minecraft experience, which you can't get from chocolate-covered broccoli, right? You have to have the mobs, you have to have the glowstone, you have to have the redstone in order to give the students what they want. Too often we find, again, based on feedback, that programs strip out the fun aspects and they just put the educational stuff on there. And we've really tried to avoid being an educational game. We've really tried to avoid gamification of education. We don't want that. We want game-based learning. That's what we're going for. And it has to be a game at heart. Because if it's not a game at heart, we're losing on that passion from students. And if we can give students something they're passionate about, the learning just happens so much faster.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I hear from schools all the time, is that one of the things they love the most about Minecraft is that the kids still love it, even when they use it in schools, because it doesn't feel like they're learning. It feels like they're playing a game.
Tricking them almost.
Exactly.
Tricking them. I don't know if they're tricking them, but they're learning without learning, without realizing they're learning it. That's great. I'm looking forward to all the feedback we can get in the future. And if people in our audience have feedback they want to send to us, you can go to education.minecraft.net. You can go to our support link. You can send the feedback through there. I promise it'll get to Melissa. She'll get it to me, and we'll write the stories up, and we'll do the design work on it. And it might not make it in all the time because we have lots of requests from everyone around the world, whether it's a student, a teacher, an IT administrator. I got my own suggestions for the game. I'm sure you do too. But I'm looking forward to all the things we can do together.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really, really excited about hearing from other teachers and seeing what they really want to have in the game. So send your feedback in. It'll be awesome, and we'll work together to try to make the game the best that it can be.
Great. And whether you're on site at ISTE with us here in San Antonio or watching from home at #NotAtISTE17, we appreciate all your feedback and your support. Thanks a lot.
Right.